Every pirate in One Piece gets a title from the world the second they become dangerous enough to matter. Not a nickname their friends made up. An actual official label slapped on a wanted poster, printed by the same government that's trying to kill them, and somehow, almost every single Straw Hat got handed a title that perfectly explains who they are. Sometimes before they'd even earned it. A liar who becomes God. A thief who becomes a cat burglar. A reindeer the entire world government apparently thinks is a pet. Today we're breaking down where every single one of these titles came from, why they were given, and yes, we're also covering the nicknames their own crewmates used to roast them, because Zoro and Sanji have been roasting each other since episode 1. But why? Quick context for anyone new here. In the world of One Piece, once you're wanted badly enough, the Marines don't just print your name and bounty, they print a title, an epithet, usually based on your fighting style, your reputation, or whatever rumour about you spread the fastest. Sometimes it's terrifying, sometimes it's a complete joke. We're going crew member by crew member, starting with the captain, whose title is, somehow, the most low effort one on the entire ship. Straw Hat Luffy, that's it. While his crew is collecting titles like Pirate Hunter and Soul King, our captain's big, intimidating epithet is just a description of his hat. The same hat that's not even his, it was given to him by Shanks, the man who basically shaped his entire dream, under one promise: bring it back once he becomes a great pirate. So technically, the most feared pirate in the back half of the series carries a title that's really just the guy wearing his hero's hat. It's the least scary epithet in One Piece, and somehow also one of the most meaningful, because that hat is the one thing Luffy will never let anyone touch. Pirate Hunter Zoro. Before joining the Straw Hats, Zoro had a side hustle, capturing pirates and turning them in for bounty money to fund his goal of becoming the world's greatest swordsman. He wasn't doing it out of some grand sense of justice, he just needed cash. And pirates happened to be the easiest target. That's the entire origin of Pirate Hunter Zoro, a guy who became a wanted criminal by hunting other criminals. And speaking of nicknames, this is where Sanji comes in. Sanji doesn't call him Pirate Hunter, he calls him Mosshead, because he has green hair, which looks like grass, and Mosshead was the first thing that came to Sanji's mind after noticing Zoro's hair. Since then, he has never once let it go. It's been hundreds of episodes. It's still funny every time. Cat Burglar Nami. Nami's title is Cat Burglar, and it comes straight from her pre-Luffy career as a master thief. And it's specifically a thief who targeted pirate crews, sneaking into their hideouts and stealing their treasure right out from under them. The cat part fits her whole style. Quiet, quick, impossible to catch, and somehow always one step ahead of whoever she's robbing. It's one of the rare titles in this crew that's just accurate. No twist, no irony. She really was that good at stealing. God, Usopp. Now this one's got a great backstory. Usopp spent years as the crew member best known for lying, exaggerating stories, inventing excuses, talking a much bigger game than he could back up. So naturally, the universe's sense of humour kicks in during the Dressrosa arc, when Usopp's actions end up breaking a curse that had trapped an entire kingdom, and the people there start treating him like an actual god. It works so well that the title stuck. God Usopp. The guy whose entire reputation used to be built on lies ends up genuinely worshipped by a country that decided his actions earned him a permanent title. He'd also picked up the alias Soga King earlier in the story, a sharpshooting masked persona he invented, mostly so he wouldn't have to take credit and risk his crew's safety. Between the two, Usopp somehow has cooler aliases than people who never lied about anything in their life. Blackleg Sanji. Sanji's title comes from his fighting style. He fights almost entirely with kicks because as a chef, he refuses to damage his hands. The black half comes from his signature look. Sharp black suit, slicked back hair, the whole well-dressed troublemaker aesthetic. Put it together and you get Blackleg Sanji, a chef who will cook you a 5-course meal and then break your jaw with the same leg, depending entirely on how you talk to him. And just like Sanji's got jokes for Zoro, Zoro's got one right back. He calls Sanji curly brow, referencing Sanji's permanently spiral-shaped eyebrow, which Sanji is somehow extremely sensitive about. One of the most dangerous cooks in the world, capable of taking down entire armed crews solo, reduced to a haircut, adjacent insult by a guy who once got lost trying to walk to the bathroom on his own ship, cotton candy lover Chopper. This is, without exaggeration, the single least intimidating title in all of One Piece. Chopper's title is Cotton Candy Lover, and it exists purely because the world government doesn't take him seriously. They genuinely think the crew just keeps a reindeer around as a pet, so his bounty poster gave him a title based on the fact that he likes cotton candy. That's it. No fighting style reference, no fearsome backstory, just dessert preference. Which makes it extra satisfying every time Chopper turns into a 20-foot horned monster and demolishes someone, because somewhere out there, his official government paperwork still says loves sweets, like he's a toddler and not a doctor capable of putting you in traction. Devil Child Robin. Robin's title hits very differently from the others, because she earned it as a literal child. After the destruction of her home island, she became the sole survivor of a group the world government wanted erased, and rather than treating a traumatized kid with sympathy, the world slapped the label Devil Child on her, branding her as something to fear before she'd done anything to deserve it. She also picked up a second identity later on, Miss All Sunday, during her years undercover with a criminal organisation called Baroque Works, which is a whole separate story on its own. But Devil Child is the one that followed her the longest, a title given out of fear rather than truth, which honestly makes it one of the more tragic epithets on this entire list. Cyborg Frankie. Frankie's title is refreshingly straightforward. He's called Cyborg Frankie because, well, he is one. After an accident that should have killed him, he rebuilt his own body with mechanical parts and kept upgrading from there. No hidden meaning, no irony, no government misunderstanding. Just a guy who is very literally part machine, with a title that just states the obvious. Soul King Brook. Brook's current title is Soul King, which works on 2 levels at once. He's a musician, so it plays on the whole soul music angle, but it's also a much darker pun than people realise, since Brook is a literal soul that was separated from his body for years after death before a devil fruit brought him back. Before this title, he went by Humming Brook and even Dead Bones Brook earlier in his journey. Of every epithet on this list, his is the only one that's also, technically, a medical condition. Knight of the Sea Jinbe, and finally, Jinbe, a title earned through years of honourable conduct, including time spent as one of the 7 warlords, a position usually reserved for people far less trustworthy than him. It's one of the few titles in this entire list that's neither a joke nor an irony, just straightforward respect, earned the hard way. So that's the full lineup, 10 titles, each one either earned, mocked, feared, or completely undeserved, and somehow every single one tells you exactly who that character is before they say a word. Some of these crewmates spent years being underestimated because of a silly title, and some of them are still getting called a mossball by their own best friend to this day. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe, drop your favourite Straw Hat epithet in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.